It's Rich, Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you? Uh, this one's going to be a little bit about some ideas that I got from some of you folks. Some of your comments I was reading, and a few of them came out that made me think. So I decided that I'm going to throw together a quick little video that hopefully can help you out a little bit. This one's kind of all about how to fill the gaps on your homestead with a little bartering. Talk to you tonight. Uh, let's talk a little bit about, I'd received some comments and a couple of messages about folks who were saying that they would like to go organic, that they would like to be eating grass-fed beef and pasture-raised animals, but they don't have enough land to raise their own cattle. They, they raise as much food and garden in their garden as they can, but can't really afford all this other stuff. What suggestions did I have for them? Well, started really thinking about that, and I bet you folks could help them out a lot better than I can. But here's some things that ran through my mind. Back in the day, if you needed medical attention, a lot of times you went to the local doctor and you ended up trading him a chicken for his medical services. Okay? That's still possible today. All right, because I know a lot of farmers who buy their chicken for frying and so forth at a store. Here's why. Raising chickens to butcher and the butchering of chickens is a lot of work. It's a fair amount of work. Honestly, it is. And so they just soon not fool with it. They go to the store, buy a chicken. All right. And they too a lot of them are concerned about what goes into that chicken. There's the thought. If you got enough room on your land to raise some broilers, they're a pretty fast turn. It's labor intensive. I mean, if you don't have a plucker and scalder and all that sort of good happy stuff for processing chicken, it's a lot more work. Okay? Go around these farmers markets and stuff, start putting the word out that, you've got organic, free-ranged, or at least pasture-raised broilers that you would trade for meat or for produce. Already dressed, in a bag, frozen solid. You might have some people, well, we wouldn't be interested. We raise our own chickens, but we know Mr. So-and-so down there. Let me talk to him. Okay? Now, granted, chicken's value is not as high as beef, but, you'd probably get a pretty good sized pile of beef out of if you had 50 or so broilers that you could give him a year's worth of supply of chicken. He didn't have to go back to the store for it. There's a thought. Bartering with your surplus out of your garden when you've got more tomatoes than you know what to do with, although usually tomatoes is one of those things that everybody has too many of. But let's say you go down to the farmers markets and stuff and talk to the people down there and say, hey, I got this overabundance of tomatoes. Do you know anybody that would swap me some turnips for, or some lettuce for, or cabbage, or whatever? Okay? Or go ahead and can it up as tomato sauce, ketchup, especially ketchup. That's one that a lot of people don't want to fool with. And it's not that difficult, so I don't know what the big deal is, but you'll find very few that do. They always go to the store to buy their ketchup and, yada. Something like that. Can up ketchup. Say, I got a bunch of canned ketchup. Somebody would want to swap for some produce or some beef, or I have eggs. A lot of times people that have big gardens and are down there at the farmer's market selling produce, they didn't have chickens. Didn't mess with it. Because I'll be honest with you, if you're talking about raising chickens for your own consumption, okay, 9 times out of 10, it's more cost effective just to go to the store and buy a dozen eggs, or go to another person that raises and sells eggs and get organic eggs that way, right? That's what a lot of people do. I had quite a few customers who would buy 10 dozen eggs at a pop. They ate a lot of eggs. Okay, there's another resource. If you quilt, think about that for a minute. There you get to deal with the farmer's wife, and when she makes the decision, you can bet he's going to toe the mark. Okay, if she's got a freezer full of beef and another freezer full of pork, and you're showing her a quilt that she just loves, and she asks, well, how much do you charge for something like that? I usually just barter it off for meat or produce. You're going to see a twinkle appear in that lady's eye, okay? And you may leave there with, quite the carload of beef and pork for that quilt you made. Labor. Now, this one is a first-hand experience that I ran into up in Illinois when I had a place up there. There was a lady who specialized in when, like, a farmer's wife got laid up or something of this nature, would come in and clean the house. Okay? The deal was, if all she provided was labor, more or less, all the cleaning supplies, all the necessary items, mops, brooms, vacuums, so forth, was present in the house, she would use their stuff and clean the house real good for them. And she didn't want money. She wanted either eggs or meat or produce. That was what she wanted. Okay? She had a heck of a business. Literally, one time she told me that she fed her family. And I think she had like 3 or 4 kids and her husband. She says she feeds her family working 2 days a week cleaning houses. She's utilizing her labor. In the Midwest also, we did things like where a fellow, let's say, raised pigs. Now this requires a little more cash. We would work a deal where I would buy the pig. His share of the input was to feed and take care of the pig, and then would split the processing fee. And he'd get half that pig. Saved him money, made his meat cheaper, saved me money, made my meat cheaper. And then I, in turn, did the same thing with the steer. He'd buy the steer, I'd raise the steer, would split the processing cost. Okay? So there's a lot of different ways that you can get out and take goods and services that you may be able to provide from your home, crafty stuff, whatever. Use your talents and get out there and start marketing those talents. But your payment, you're going to want meat, produce, things of this nature. Barter. Okay? You can run across semi-retired farmers and stuff where his wife is maybe sickly, something like that, and you want to come in and clean the house, you bet, to that farmer, and that's worth a side of beef to him. House stays neat and clean, and things of this nature. His wife's not all antsy about that. There's a lot of options out there. You folks out there probably can sit around and think of a few more. Put them in the comments. People are needing this information. They really and truly want to get off this GMO stuff, but don't have the cash to go do that. Something you can do, okay? Now, I know people get sick of eating like green beans all the time, things of this nature, okay? Green beans and turnips are a pretty good food staple. Easy to grow. You can even grow them in little pots and container plants and things of this nature, especially the green beans. Put 3 or 4 seeds in a big pot, keep it watered. You'll have plenty of green beans that you can and put back. Same thing with turnips. You don't need a huge turnip patch, but turn a section of ground and plant some turnips out there. One, you get greens. Now, not everybody likes turnip greens, but down here in the South, it's a very much a basic food for most of us. Matter of fact, tonight I had fried chicken and turnip greens. So it's filling. Uh, you're out there cutting the little tender greens off of that stuff all through the growing season, which by the way is usually at the end of the season when your tomatoes are pretty much done, all that's all done. You can go out there and turn your garden down and hand scatter out a bunch of turnip seeds. You'll have a nice little turnip patch. Turnips, great fillers. They end up tasting like whatever you're cooking them in. Okay? And, like a lot of times if I have turnips here, I'll, like when I do a slow cook a pot of beans, I'll cut up small chunks of turnip to throw in there. It adds to the pot. Okay? Adds to the meal. Kind of tastes like a bean when it's all over said and done. So there's a lot of little things like that you can do to improve the food capability of your homestead or your backyard. But yeah, and turnip greens are great. Okay, they really are. You can fix them up hundreds of different ways. And you going out there and clipping the new tender, and that's the best ones. You don't want the leaves to get too big. You want to kind of clip them as they're young and tender. That's just good eating, folks. And yet the turnips still grow. So while you're growing your main crop for turnips, you're getting the benefits of all the greens. It's a win-win. But start thinking about what talents do you have? Now, it's going to take you a while to build a clientele and so forth. But start thinking about what talents do I have that I could put to use. And barter for things like grass-fed beef, pastured pork, things of this nature. Okay? There is opportunities out there. Farmers are aging. Okay? So, and most of the kids aren't staying on the farms. So utilize your strength and ability. Sometimes you can even, hire on a farm as a weekend extra hand to help the old farmer out. And he'll work a deal with produce and meat and things of that nature. There's a lot you can do. Okay? Like I said, I bet you folks, if you start sharing ideas in the comments, you can probably come up with a truckload of different ways to make money, or people you've met that have made money, not necessarily making money, because technically if you make money, you got to claim it on your taxes. Okay? If you go do an old farmer a favor and he gives you a pile of beef in exchange for it, it's bartering. And it's real hard for the IRS to get in the middle of that one, although they'll try, okay, if they think you're doing it on too large of a scale. Otherwise, if you have a halfway decent income, but you still find it a bit of a financial burden to go to Whole Foods and all this sort of stuff, look into CSAs, folks. One, you're working with the farmer because you're paying leading up to harvest. Okay? It's not like you're getting immediate return on your dollar. You're investing. You're investing in that farm. Okay? But you're getting your produce and things of this nature at reasonable rates for organically grown product. But yet, you're helping that farmer provide that product to you. All right? CSAs are a very good way to go. Get out and start going places where farmers congregate, farmers markets, and so forth. Lord, you'd be surprised at how many friendships spring out of farmers markets. If you can do crafty stuff, or make soap, or make butter, or make anything, set yourself up and stand at a farmer's market. Get to know the people around you. Socialize. Meet new friends. And a lot of times that's how you find out about opportunities that you never dreamed of. Okay? Because people in agriculture know other people in agriculture that go, well, I don't really need that. But by golly, I bet old Mr. Jones might. I know Mr. Smith's wife's been sickly, and they were complaining about they were going to have to hire a housekeeper the way it's going. See what I'm saying? Farmers and people in agriculture, they become tight communities. So you may have to visit several communities and get involved in several different farmers markets. All right, kind of get the word out there. But when you've told these people, they've got that in the back of their mind, and then they go, "Oh, you know what? Have a business card, or at least a card with your name and phone number on it." And tell them, "Oh, if you hear somebody, here's my cards. Give them a card and have them give me a call. Make sure they mention you." All right. So there's a lot of ways to do this, folks. Start thinking. Start looking. Okay. Utilize the community. Who knows? Healthcare in this country keeps going the way it is. Pretty soon we might have doctors willing to take chickens for an office visit. Because right now they're having a hard time collecting from like Medicaid. Okay. So, there's a system. And if you really sit down and start thinking, I mean, what can you do? If you're mechanically inclined, maybe if your husband's mechanically inclined, you can go out and volunteer helping a farmer do maintenance on his equipment, things of that nature. All assorted stuff that is a monetary value to a farmer. Okay? Utilize that. But instead of asking him for the cash, which most farmers don't have much cash, they're eating pretty good. Usually they got a stock of food, they got produce, especially during the growing season. They're going to have meat put in their freezer whenever they butcher. You can get into that supply chain. Says Rich Tennessee Homestead. Folks, help each other out. Put some comments down there. Share ideas. Let's figure out ways that these folks who don't have the dollars and cents to hit these, organic markets, help them find ways to utilize their talents to take care of their families and get them off that GMO stuff. Y'all have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.